Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones. And yes, I am the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you all so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. Really do appreciate your time, no matter where you are, no matter wherever you may be. Thank you so much. And shouts out to everybody in the chat right now. Apologize once again. I'm not on camera. I'm still dealing with this cold. I have occasional cough. And honestly, today I'm at work at the radio station, and I was doing a little bit of my imitation of a Dennis Allen. I was actually cleaning up outside in the carport area of the radio station. I had to take some things to the dump, so your boy kind of dusty, you know what I'm saying? And didn't want to be on camera with that, between the cough and the dustiness. Nevertheless, thank you all so much for being here. Shouts out to everybody in the chat once again. Shouts out to everybody listening. If you're on your lunch break, if you're at home, if you're at the gym, thank you so much. We gotta give this game that took place on Monday night a little bit more of our time. All right, so we can go ahead and put it in a box, bury it where it'll never be seen again. This is the final thoughts on the New Orleans Saints Week 9 matchup versus the Baltimore Ravens. And you know what, man? I look at this team, watched the game last night. I get on this podcast every single week, almost every day. And I know some people feel like, I'm negative or, but that is not my intent. Like, I do not do this podcast trying to be negative. What I do is I look at what I see and I evaluate it and I give my opinion based on what I see. And I understand that a lot of you have not been in this situation before. Like, a lot of you are, God bless your hearts, you're too young to really understand how terrible this team was at one time. And even when this team loses or they go on losing streaks, there's always like some silver lining that comes through, right? Like, the Saints can start off 0-2, and then all of a sudden, like, they get red hot and they make it their way to the playoffs, and they get home playoff game or possible home field advantage if somebody loses. But this isn't one of those times. This isn't one of those times. Like, we are constantly trying to find solutions and looking at this team and like, okay, the light is going to come on. The Saints have played 9 games. 9. They have played 9 games. And those 9 games, there's nothing about those games that tells me that this is a playoff team. There's nothing about those 9 games that tells me that this team is going to win the division. And it's just as simple as that. Do they have the talent to do it? Absolutely. But you need leadership. And Dennis Allen is not a leader. He's not a leader of men. He can coach defense, but he is not a leader of men. Dennis Allen is a terrible head coach. I don't know why people are just sitting up here trying to defend this dude. Well, man, Dennis Allen, man, well, I can put it out. Look, Everybody tries to be a contrarian. I'm serious. There's people out there who will listen to me, listen to you, and we will make valid sense. And just because they want to go against the grain, they will sit up here and respond to you on Twitter. They'll send me DMs. They'll inbox me, man. Well, man, you talking about Dennis Allen, but he ain't the problem. Like, yes, he is. Yes, he is. A team is a reflection of their coach. Attitude reflects leadership. I know I ain't the only person that's seen Remember the Titans. I know I'm not the only person. You remember when Gary Bertier and Julius got into it at the water water cooler? Y'all remember that? Y'all remember that? And then, you know what I'm saying, they had almost like a come to Jesus meeting. You know, he told him, he said, you know, basically the dude wasn't blocking, you know what I'm saying, for the quarterback. And Gary Bertier knew about it. And Julius was like, I'm going to get me and I'm going to look out for mine. And Jerry and replied to him, what? What did he say? That's a bad attitude to have. And he said, attitude reflects leadership, Captain. That's what he said. So all I'm saying is this. The way that this team looks is a reflection of Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen ain't it. As long as Dennis Allen is the head coach of the New Orleans Saints, they ain't winning nothing. I mean, I'm standing on it. As long as Dennis Allen is the head coach of New Orleans Saints, they ain't winning nothing. Because you got to have it to be a coach. Like some people like, man, look at the team. Look at the team. Look at the team. Bruh, this team was in the same position, almost in the same position as they were last year. But they didn't look this bad. Even in L's. Even in L's, they looked formidable. Like it was worth you watching. This team ain't even worth watching right now. And he goes to the podium saying all this cliche stuff. I'm honestly about to change his name from Captain Cleanup to Captain Cliche. Because everything he says is a cliche. Man, we got to clean this up. Shooting himself in the foot. Yada, yada, yada. Tough day at the office. I'm sick of it, man. Like, I'm at a point that, like, if I didn't do this podcast, I wouldn't want to hear anything that comes out of Dennis Allen's mouth because, number one, I don't believe anything he says. How many times have we seen guys, top guys, who get hurt? They don't put them on IR, right? Michael Thomas has been out for 5 weeks before y'all realize, oh, we need to go ahead and shut him down. Marshawn Lattimore, he's about to miss, he missed what, his fourth game? All these different things right here, man. It's the ineptitude that frustrates me. And I'm serious, man. How can anybody look at this dude? Like, seriously, and feel like this is what a leader looks like. This is what a leader of men looks like. This dude is not it. He looks like the substitute teacher that's just trying to hold down the fort till the main teacher comes back, right? And everybody had a substitute teacher, right? When you had a substitute teacher, you see that substitute teacher, you know you ain't about to have no homework. And most likely they about to pull out that TV that's in a cloakroom. It's just what it is. And then when the real teacher come back, everybody's sitting up straight, whole room quiet. You know what I'm saying? Because that teacher has gotten the respect of everybody. I want to look, shouts out to my teacher, my fourth grade teacher. God bless her. Her name was Miss Dorsey. Shouts out to Miss Dorsey. If you just so happen to be listening to this, Miss Dorsey, I love you and thank you for everything. Miss Dorsey was one of the most firm teachers at our elementary school. But every single person respected her. Every last one of them. It was to a point, if she walks out the classroom, everybody start talking. They see her in the door, everybody just get quiet. Everybody just get quiet, right? When Miss Dorsey isn't there, it's a free day. We excited. You know what I'm saying? Because we know we ain't about to get no day like this when Miss Dorsey get back. Dennis Allen is the substitute teacher that's not going to give you homework and is wheeling out the TV and putting the VHS in so you can watch Lean on Me. That's just what it is. That's who he is, okay? That is what he is. You have to have a disciplinarian. You got to have a Miss Dorsey as a head coach. And Sean Payton was a Miss Dorsey. That's who he was. He was a Miss Dorsey. He was my fourth grade teacher. There was somebody that demanded respect because they knew what the heck they were doing, and everybody valued him because of that. So as long as we keep on trying to kick the can down the road and trying to pretend like all of a sudden, you know, like your favorite football or any sports movie that comes on Disney, you know, you start off at the Bad News Bears, and then the next thing you know, you become the Cowboys, you know, the Cowboys on Little Giants. You know, like we can pretend like that happens, but it's not happening, man. Look, the cavalry isn't coming, and this is just what it is. Mickey Loomis has got to do the right thing. You cannot allow your ego to put this dude back on the sidelines as a head coach for 2023. You cannot do that. And we can talk about injuries and all that kind of stuff all day and night. But it's rather you got it or you don't. And regardless to when the Saints had injuries, who was out, they always were formidable. Last night, they looked like a team that had no business being out there on the football field. It was like watching 53 guys that don't really know each other, but let's go out here and play some football. And look no further than the head coach. I am not a fan of Dennis Allen. I don't feel like Dennis Allen is the answer. And I'm not going to pretend, all right? Like some people, you know, they want to, you know, have that stance like we'll see. No, I don't need to see it. What more do you need to see that this dude ain't the answer? So it is what it is at this point. They're 3-6. They're probably not going to make the playoffs. You know, probably. They won't make the playoffs because it's like as long as they continue to go down this road right here, win one, lose one, it's not happening. It's just not happening. Because when it's going to come down to execution. It's going to come down to who can make the play to win the game. And if you got Andy Dalton as your quarterback, what have you seen that you feel that he can make the play to win the game? Based on Dennis Allen coaching, have you seen him make a move that you can be like, man, you know what? We got a chance. Heck no. So that's what it's all going to come down to. So I just think we playing ourselves. Seriously. I think we are playing ourselves and we think that this team is just going to turn into one of the best teams or turn into the 2007 Giants or something like that. Like you are sadly mistaken. It ain't happening. All right. Do I feel like they're going to win another game? Yes. Do I feel like they might win next week against the Steelers? Probably. You know, but I don't see playoffs in their future because they're inconsistent and they're not motivated and they're a mere shell of what they have been and what made us fall in love with them for the last 15 years. They're unprepared, they're unmotivated, and they lack energy. And also, my last point before I start reading these comments. You know, I love Cam Jordan. All-time great, multi-time All-Pro. Got a lot of respect for him. Like, I basically feel like this, folks. If the Saints can't get themselves together, they need to go ahead and let Cam Jordan go somewhere where he can possibly win a Super Bowl. Like, seriously, that's how much respect I have for him. But these tweets about 24-hour rule, that's up there to me with Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos, Bronco country. Let's ride. That's kind of how it feels right now. Like, it becomes like a parody at this particular point. 24-hour rule. We got to go. Man, a lot of things we need to clean up. A lot of things we need to do. 24-hour rule in effect. Like I said, this is basically becoming New Orleans' version of Russell Wilson's Bronco country. Let's ride. So I'm just saying. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. We get it, right? 24-hour rule. We back to the basics. Okay, we digging in the crates. We trying to find ourselves. We trying to. I don't know. But hey, I'm just saying, man, it's up there with the Russell Wilson stuff, Bronco country. Let's ride. And if you follow him on Twitter, he's a funny guy. And like I said, but bruh, I mean, come on, man. Like, and we ain't trying to hear this. At this particular point, it's almost like a card that's not really signed by like a famous person, but it just Xeroxed or something like that. It Xeroxed his signature on. That's kind of how it feels. Like it don't feel genuine. It don't feel real. It's just basically something that you say that become like almost like a cliche, And if nothing is changing, basically winning one and losing one, like, man, how much tape are y'all really watching? I know he watching tape, but I'm just saying, it may make you wonder. Number one, Saints fan really just said, it looks like Kamara isn't trying. Boy, have you been paying any attention the last 3 weeks? Anybody that's saying that Alvin Kamara isn't trying don't know nothing about football. And if you've been watching the Baltimore Ravens, which you probably have not, you will probably know that the Baltimore Ravens are one of the best teams and have been one of the best teams at neutralizing running backs that can catch the ball out of the backfield. But of course, we are looking at it like that because in our minds, we really feel like this is a Sean Payton-led New Orleans Saints team. And we're not looking at the fact that the Baltimore Ravens are better than the New Orleans Saints. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. We do not want to admit this. Somebody went off on me, was talking about why, what I'm saying? Don't be big up in the Ravens. Why the hell not? If they're a good football team, one thing that really bothers me about like fans of teams is when they know that something is obviously wrong. They know the truth, but they rather live in denial and they don't want you to say it out loud. It's relatively obvious that the Baltimore Ravens are better than the New Orleans Saints. It's relatively obvious. If you look at the stats, the analytics, they are able to neutralize running backs. I said it on the prediction show. I said they are going to take Alvin Kamara out of the game. So it's going to take Andy Dalton to win. There is nothing wrong with Alvin Kamara, except for the fact that he went up against some really good linebackers in Patrick Queen and Roquan Smith. It's just that simple. Like we try to make addition calculus, and it's not. You know what I'm saying? Like addition is addition, calculus is calculus. And we're trying to make it more complicated than what it is. That was a really good football team that the New Orleans Saints went up against. And that's something that we just going to have to deal with. What we're used to is no matter who the opponent is, rather they're one of the biggest teams in the NFL, red hot, the Saints can come up in there and cool them off, right? The Saints can be the fire extinguisher that puts the fire out on every team. But guess what? Welcome to the year 2022 where nothing else matters that happened back then. What we need to stop doing is we need to stop adjusting our antenna to channel 2018, 2017, and go ahead and you know what I'm saying, click the dial to 2022 and realize that you actually living in this reality. These are not the same New Orleans Saints that you all were looking at. And man, we still got a chance. 4 quarters, 7 minutes, man. 9 about to come out here and try to, you know what I'm saying, cut into this lead. Those days are over, man. And especially since you have a coach that can't get it done. So the Baltimore Ravens are a good football team. Call a spade a spade. Like, ain't nothing wrong with Alvin Kamara, because I'm pretty sure he'll probably bounce back next week. He'll probably have some little struggles because even though the Pittsburgh Steelers have been struggling themselves, they're pretty good at linebacker. But my question is, once again, the tape is out. If you got some athletic linebackers and you can neutralize Alvin Kamara, what else are you going to do? Who is going to make a play? Who is going to go out there and do something that is, you know what I'm saying, that is ESPN worthy? You know what I'm saying? Help you to be able to get a win. Because right now, it's damn sure ain't Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton is playing to play the next week. He's not playing to win the game, in my opinion. He's not. He's playing to a point where we can have these shows and y'all can comment in the chats and all these other different podcasts and stuff like that on Twitter, going back and forth about, well, Andy Dalton completed 70% of his passes what he did was he threw the balls like that. That's what they want. That's basically what Andy Dalton playing like. For him to be justified to play next week. But you ain't winning nothing with that, bro. Like all those empty calorie stats. Like you look at Andy Dalton. Like, I don't know. Let me look up his stat line. If you just give me 1 second. Let me pull up the stat line and see what he did last night. And like I said, I mean, he was 19 of 29, 210 yards, right? So let's go ahead and we'll deduct. All right. There was a 41-yard touchdown by Juwan Johnson. I mean, you got 210 yards, okay? So like it's 41 yards. So at the time, before, Marcus Peters didn't push the guy out of bounds, he was at 169 yards. I don't know what that 2-minute drill was when they got into the red zone and the same drive where he missed Callaway when he was wide open. I don't know what that drive actually led to, but it was a 2-minute drill. So basically, you know what I'm saying? It was up tempo. We trying to get into the half. You're not allowing the Baltimore Ravens to get the personnel that they need off the field and get the ones that they need defensively on the field. So if you subtract that, what in the world did he do? Like, at this particular point, it's more than just, the offense looks effective. Well, the offense, you know what I'm saying? Like the numbers are like, I'm with you. You know what I'm saying? I even justified. I'm like, okay, man, the offense does look better. But here's the thing. I can understand I can understand you justifying Andy Dalton starting with the numbers and third down and all that kind of stuff there. But what is he equating to? Like, what is it equating to? You know what I'm saying? Like, is it equating to wins? Like, is he equating to like the numbers look impressive? But to me, it's like a 5,000-yard passer who doesn't make the playoffs. Like, what did you really accomplish? I mean, from a personal standpoint, you'll probably put yourself in like a upper echelon of quarterbacks, so you'll probably get yourself paid contractually. But when it comes to actually playing a game, what did you really accomplish? You didn't accomplish anything. Empty calorie stats. I mean, late game heroics is not going to win you nothing. So I don't know, man. At this particular point, at this particular point, you might as well just go with Jameis till the end of the season. You might as well. Just go with him to the end of the season because at least, you know what I'm saying, with him, he's younger. I'm only, you know what I'm saying, if he can play. I don't know. At this particular time, I don't know if Jameis just out there, just basically being a cosplayer right now or he actually can play. But if he can, might as well go ahead and put him in. Because Jameis basically was doing the same thing. If you look at that Carolina Panthers game, we threw for like 300 and some odd yards. They lost. Andy Dalton, late game heroics, they still losing. So what's the difference? What is the difference? For the exception of the Raiders game, what has he like? Offensive efficiency equaling losses. Like, I don't get it. Oh, y'all look good, but did you win? That's the real question. Man got named starter because he said offense been performing. It was a football decision, but it came in the process of losing and getting stats in trash time. All I'm saying is how impressive is it? Seriously. How impressive is it if you're playing in garbage time? I mean, defense playing about as soft as a baby's bottom. You know what I'm saying? Soft as cottonelle tissue at that time. They're going to give you the middle of the field. They ain't going to give you that sideline so you can stop that clock. So how impressive is it really? And honestly, look, you can be as efficient as you want to, but if you're only getting down to the red zone and only kicking field goals, like what are we doing here? What are we doing? Got you on a big screen. I need to hear this throughout my whole place. Well, I appreciate that, Sugar. I appreciate that. Thank you. Andy Dalton is exactly who he was, an older backup quarterback. So conservative and scary. Yeah, this whole entire team is just super conservative, man. Negative 14 yards on third down, floating balls, throwing behind wide receivers. And look, I don't care what anybody says. That stat about him losing in prime time is in his head. It's in his head. Like he can say all the right things all he wants to. I see his body language. I see how uptight he was in this game. Like he was like, since he's been with the New Orleans Saints, this probably been the most uptight I've seen him. That stat line about him not being successful in prime time is getting to him, and you can tell. Yeah, you can tell in his body language. You can tell in his game. He wasn't able to do some of the most simplest things, and I get it. You know what I'm saying? That those Ravens defenders were hunting, but at the same time, man, I don't know, man. When the defense is really just coming down on you and they're hitting you left and right. I don't know, man. It's rather that clutch gene gonna pop on, that gamer gene is just gonna pop on, or you just gonna stand there and just be pedestrian. And that's what he was. I mean, but I will say this: Andy Dalton is the perfect quarterback for a Dennis Allen team. Very conservative, no risk taking, not gonna gonna be afraid to make a mistake, gonna tiptoe through the tulips. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, he's a perfect quarterback for Dennis Allen team. He's not gonna take no risk. Not at all. Not at all. Dalton putting up empty calories and no wins. Every now and then, you need a quarterback that can make a throw to win the game. Every now and then. If the Saints are front running, he'll be okay because he's not going to do anything. He's not going to take no type of risk, But if they're losing, then you're in some bad shape. Because like I said, at this particular time, Andy Dalton's main concern is starting. Like to me, like I feel like him starting means more to him than winning. Because, I mean, he's playing like it. So, like I said, if they lose, but he has a pretty decent stat line, they're going to look at that and be like, well, Andy did complete 60% of his passes, so can't say that, he bad. We'll let him come out there next week. So that's kind of how it is. He's basically playing like trying to keep his head above water. Jameis has missed a ton of offseason and practice because of injuries. Pretty sure that has a lot to do with him being off and not in rhythm with the wide receivers. Like I said, if he's able to play, you might as well just go ahead and put him in. Because I don't feel like there's nothing that Andy Dalton is doing is equating to like team success. Like you can try to, like I said, you can justify all these numbers analytically, but it's not equating to anything. It's empty calorie. If it don't equal to a win, who cares? Look at Minnesota. They got a new coach. Yeah. Kevin McConnell is doing a really good job. But, the Saints aren't. I have never seen Dalton so frustrated. I said last week it was time to blow up the team, but the moderators kept shutting me down. Are we in agreement now? No. Are we? What are we talking about here? You talking about blowing up the entire team with players? No, I don't. Because here's the reality. Here's the real deal. If Sean Payton was the head coach of this football team, they would not be 3-6 right now. You know it, and I know it. So for that alone, I feel like you shouldn't blow up the team. Now, when you talking about the coaches, now you're talking. Because, look, players are going to respond to the coaches based on, how the coaches, react. And Dennis Allen's laid-back attitude is basically the reason why I feel like they play the way that they do. So, and with that, I just feel like if it's not the players, I feel like No, you shouldn't blow it up. But if you talking about the coaches, yes, I'm all in agreement with that. Like, these players are good, man, regardless if they're like backups or whatever. Because I seen some of these same players go out here and play their hearts out all the way to the end, to the very last game of the season against the Falcons. I mean, from week to week, they probably was very, very limited. They had 57 different variations of a starting rotation, and they went out there and they battled. And I'm gonna be, and honestly, based on how the NFC looks right now, I mean, the Saints probably be running away with the division. They may be running away with the division if Sean Payton was here. So no, I don't feel like they need to blow up the team. But if you want to talk about, getting rid of these coaches, I'm all for that, because I feel like the coaches are the reason this team is not winning. This team is a perfect example of having an embarrassment of riches in terms of talent, but DA still can't pay the bills. He has all this talent and can't do anything with it. I'm just wondering, like, what more do you need to see? Like, seriously, what more do you need to see? What can you possibly do, and what can you possibly bring in that you just feel like, just going to help Dennis Allen's career? This man had all this talent on his team, and he can't coach these boys. Like, what more do you get? You know what I'm saying? Like, you might, like, get Randy Moss on one side, Larry Fitzgerald in the slot, and you know what I'm saying? I don't know, and maybe, Justin Jefferson on the outside or something like that. Like, you basically got a very talented team, playoff-worthy team, possible Super Bowl team, and you can't do nothing with that? Like, what more do we need to see? I don't understand the justification of a Dennis Allen. I don't. Of course, coaches, but we'll have to sacrifice some assets for a first-round draft. Nah, not necessarily, Star. I mean, let's see how this situation with Sean Payton gonna pan out. You can tell you want to coach again, and he will coach again. And like I said on the last episode, if you are a Saints fan, you should be betting against the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, I was happy they won last week, but I'm hoping that the Chargers don't make the playoffs. I'm hoping that they fall off. I am. I really am, because I feel like that would be the destination that would be fitting for Sean Payton, and I feel like all sides will win. Sean Payton to get his franchise quarterback. He gets to play in a big market. The Los Angeles Chargers basically got everything that they actually need as far as star receiver, star quarterback, star running back, star safety, star linebacker, star defensive end. So for them to lose a first-round pick, it's not too much. It's not hurting them too much. It's not. You know what I'm saying? They still can build their team. So that's what I'm rooting for. If you start like falling team like the Indianapolis Colts, like they still ain't got no quarterback. So that'll be kind of a tough sell, right? So if they're smart, they should be trying to find themselves a franchise quarterback for the future, to play in Indianapolis. So that might be a hard sell. Like if Mickey Loomis, was to try to make a deal with Jim Irsay and, trying to get a first round pick from them. The Chargers are the best situation to me because they have everything that they actually need. So by losing that first round pick, of course, it's a first round pick and possibly hurt you, but it wouldn't hurt you as much as it would, a team like the Colts. Again, dude is talking about getting draft capital for players when players and talent is not the issue. Coaching is the issue. That's what I'm saying. Like, you got to have a coach to be able to get that out of these players. And we up here like criticizing these, like going at these players and stuff like that, man. But man, you got to keep these players motivated and you got to put them in a position to succeed. I don't know. The way that this team was last year versus this year is night and day, even when they were limited. Who's a good candidate for the Saints next coach? I said it. I'm going to continue to say it. Frank Reich is my number one guy. I seen somebody say something about, man, Frank Reich, I want to say, here's my thing. Say it on the show live. All right. That's all I got to say. I don't really look at comments like that. You know what I'm saying? From time to time, if I'm, trying to, tag some stuff, maybe they'll come across there. But basically, they're evaluating Frank Reich, okay, week 17 versus the Jacksonville Jaguars of last year. Carson Wentz wet the bed, right? You know what I'm saying? Carson Wentz wet the bed. But what he didn't tell you is every single year, Carson Wentz has been with Frank Reich. Frank Reich has had Carson Wentz in the MVP conversation before he tore his ACL and LCL. That last season he was with Indianapolis, he threw for 27 touchdowns and 7 interceptions, like some of his best numbers since 2017. He also was the guy who helped Nick Foles make that magical playoff run. He also was the coach that got Phillip Rivers from the Chargers and had the Indianapolis Colts in the playoffs. He's also a coach who has a winning record. He's also a coach that told Jim Irsay to bring back Phillip Rivers, but instead they didn't want Phillip Rivers anymore, and they end up getting Carson Wentz, who Jim Irsay didn't like, just personally. So, and then on top of that, how can anybody just sit up here and try to criticize Frank Reich for the Indianapolis Colts when we just seen Jim Irsay take a guy from ESPN and Jeff Saturday and give him the head coaching job? But we're supposed to accept that the Indianapolis Colts fired Frank Reich because he wasn't good enough to be a coach. Let me tell y'all something. I don't care what anybody says. Frank Reich, in the right situation, is a Super Bowl winning coach. I'm serious. I'm serious. If we're talking about somebody that can help Jameis Winston, if you want to keep him, that's Frank Reich. If you get yourself a young quarterback with some promise and can help them reach their full potential, that's Frank Reich. See, I don't allow television and all these other things to try to persuade me and for me to come on here sounding like I'm the smartest guy in the room, but I'm really biting off all the people that I heard and I'm peeling off this and I'm peeling off that. Go and look at Frank Reich's record. Go look at some of the quarterbacks that were under his tutelage and how they blossom, and some of those offenses that he was responsible for, and see how they blossom. And somebody please tell me if this dude ain't a good enough head coach. The way that the Saints are structured, and they will get the hell out of Frank Reich's way and allow him to make decisions and be able to build the organization the way that he wants to and way he sees fit, they will be perfect. See, the problem is they have these owners out here who want to be the second coming of Jerry Jones, and they want to be able to be in the spotlight. They want to be all up in the videos, dancing, talking about nonsensical stuff like Jim Irsay at that last press conference, who was talking just mad gibberish. But I was supposed to believe that Frank Reich ain't a good enough coach. Like, man, miss me with that. Frank Reich is my top coach. Like the top, like the top guy. Like at the end of the season, I will be shocked. Like absolutely, positively shocked if as soon as like the season over. Hell, it would not surprise me if the Saints decide to, continue to be on this ego trip and bring back Dennis Allen. It would not surprise me to see Frank Reich be the next coach of the Carolina Panthers. You heard it right here first. I'm telling you, don't be surprised if the Saints, like I said, then we're going to bring back Dennis Allen. We're going to charge it to the game. Watch Frank Reich. Two things going to happen, okay? He going to probably end up in Carolina, or he might end up in Tampa. And when he putting foots in Dennis Allen, then y'all gonna be like, man, why we ain't get him? I'm telling you right now, straight up. That's how much respect I got for Frank Reich. Like, go and look at this dude's track record. We talking about, what I'm saying? We talking about a do or die situation against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Okay, fine. But we gonna act like this dude didn't make the playoffs? We gonna act like this dude, wasn't winning with Jacoby Brissett We gonna pretend that everybody thought that Phillip Rivers was washed and this man had them boys in the playoffs? We gonna pretend like this dude didn't have Jonathan Taylor, had him with the Russian title? So we gonna pretend that these things didn't happen. But okay, it's fine. But yes, I hate to be on my soapbox, but that's how much of respect I got for Frank Reich. That he's my top guy. He checks all the boxes about what's wrong with this team that we need to see fixed. Quarterback issues. We need a whisper. Sean Payton ain't walking through that door. Frank Reich is a quarterback whisperer. Offensively, he's really good at calling plays, especially when it comes to the run. What are the Saints doing very well in this season? Running the football. So I don't know. I digress. But yes, Frank Reich would be my guy. Frank Reich, I don't think so. We need new blood. Hell, has he won nothing? Wait a minute. So, EMAC, that's kind of a contradiction. So you saying we need new blood, right? So you basically saying don't bring in a coach that hasn't won anything, but bring in a new guy who hasn't won anything? I don't get it, man. I don't understand it. Like I don't get that. Like we need some new blood. And hell no, he hasn't. He said he won nothing. We need proven winners. If a new guy comes in, where's the track record of winning? So if you get if you get another Sean McVay disciple or something like that, coming to the team, or Joe Brady, you know what I'm saying? Ain't that some new blood? They ain't never won nothing. So I mean, what's the difference? And then on top of that, like I said, he has led the Indianapolis Colts to the playoffs. He has a winning percentage as a coach. And honestly, as soon as the NFL season is over, that man getting a phone call. It ain't gonna be like, oh man, like Frank Reich still on the street. No, I'm talking about as soon as the season is over, I guarantee you this dude gonna have another job. Like people, don't fall in love with the dirt sheets. Don't fall in love with what they're telling you on ESPN and all this other stuff to try to justify the guy getting fired. This dude is a good football coach, and he will not be on the street long. It's going to be like that Andy Reid situation. Andy Reid leaves Philadelphia on Sunday. He's hired as the Chiefs head coach on a Tuesday. That's the way it's going to be. I said this already, and I say it again. I want to go all new next season. I want to see a new head coach, OC, and quarterback. I'm tired of it in-house. Yeah, I want to see a new head coach. I want to see I think with a new head coach, you're going to see a new offensive coordinator anyway. So, that's probably what you're going to get. And you're going to get a new defensive coordinator because, Dennis Allen not going to go back and be the defensive coordinator after he became a head coach. It's better than this clown coach we got now. I know it was to be funny. He's saying at least a new guy hasn't played versus Frank already been around and hasn't won. What are you talking about? He has a winning percentage as a coach. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? The dude has a winning percentage as a head coach. Like, so, I mean, to me, okay. If we talking like this, then we need to be putting Andy Reid in the same category. Like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about actually winning? Like, what are we talking about winning? Like, winning what? Like, we talking about winning Super Bowls? Are we talking about winning games? What are we talking about here? So, what are we talking about? What are we actually talking about? So, just because this dude didn't lead the Indianapolis Colts to the Super Bowl, all of a sudden, like, he ain't good enough to be a coach? Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. So he doesn't lead the Indianapolis Colts to the Super Bowl. He's not good enough to be a head coach of the Saints. But yet we sitting up here with, a guy with an 8-28 record before he became just the head coach of New Orleans Saints, and we were trying to justify that, including myself, trying to talk myself into it. So I don't know. Frank Reich to me is a good coach, period. And I'm just, I'll just go ahead and move on to the next one. But when that man become a head coach of another team, y'all see what I'm talking about. I don't see us winning another game. Philly owns us. His record is very good considering what happened to the Colts. Keep in mind, the dude has had 3 starting quarterbacks, 4, since Andrew Luck stepped down. He became a head coach. Jacoby Brissett, Phillip Rivers, Matt Ryan, and Carson Wentz. And he still has a winning record. Keep that in mind now. Now, we sitting up here, what we had? Since Drew Brees retired, we had 5 starting quarterbacks for the Saints. And this man had 4. And yet he still has a winning record as a coach, but you're telling me that he's not good enough to coach? Huh? You don't think you can win nothing with him? Okay. I'm about ready to start calling plays from home. Don't forget, TJ, he also coached Nick Foles into a Super Bowl. Bruh. Nick Foles can't play with nobody other than Frank Reich. Went back to Philly. Almost beat us. You know what I'm saying? Almost beat us. So I don't understand this, man. I don't. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, anybody who can coach anybody, I'm not picking anybody. I'll take Peyton Manning for a head coach. Man, Peyton Manning is a great quarterback who has never coached anything in his life. I don't know what he'll be as a head coach. Right? Now we just looking at players because they was great. Now all of a sudden, their greatness was going to radiate off of them onto the players. That doesn't really happen a lot. Can somebody tell me who a great player who ended up being a great coach? I mean, there are not too many of them. Mike Dicker was a great tight end. Won a Super Bowl back in '85 with the Chicago Bears. I mean, who else was a great player in their day? John Madden. Well, John Madden wasn't a good player in his day. I mean, I got to really think about that. Who was a great football player, legend, they end up being a pretty good head coach or a great head coach? I don't know too many of them. Probably because of how they wired, Only person I can think of that's doing great right now is Deion Sanders. Great player, great as all time at his position. Turned out to be a doggone good head coach, but not too many guys who become legends end up being good head coaches, man. Frank has 3 winning seasons and under 5 seasons, and that's with luck, just leaving them unexpectedly. I don't understand. I don't know how anybody can I don't know. I get it. Like when we see the headline, Frank Reich fired. When we see that across the marquee, we like, well, he ain't good enough. He gonna stink it up with them. He stink it up with us. Like, I agree with you, TJ. Frank Reich is a legit coach. Excuse me, I had to cough. I agree with you, TJ. Frank Reich is a legit coach. He led the coach to the playoffs. So I don't know what these other folks talking about. But what you think about Brian Flores as our new head coach? Wouldn't mind seeing Brian Flores as the head coach. I wouldn't. Honestly, the way that this team is playing, that's probably what they need as far as his coaching style. Tua Tagovailoa, they like his coaching style because I guess he was too aggressive with him, and I mean, I guess, Mike McDaniel, it's working out with him, but I guess it's different stroke for different folks. But, you need somebody that's going to be able to give the team a shot in the arm and give them a little, I don't know. But I don't think this is going to happen because the Rooney family, they pretty, they pretty good at keeping guys around. They don't overreact. But what if, hypothetically speaking, like Mike Tomlin decides to step down from the Pittsburgh Steelers? What if he just decides to step down? move on, or you know what I'm saying, to like green the pasture. Like, you won't want Mike Tomlin as your head coach? I mean, this season will be the first season he doesn't have a winning record. So you telling me you want Mike Tomlin as your head coach? I would. Right. So you saying we want new blood, but let's just say, like I said, Mike Tomlin do what Sean Payton did. He steps down, right? So he can keep his reputation intact. Right. You know what I'm saying? Want to move on. You telling me you want Mike Tomlin? You would choose new blood over Mike Tomlin? I wouldn't. We signed Jamie Foxx yet. Boardroom, thank you for the $5. No, we didn't. We didn't sign Willie. Willie baby. We ain't sign him. But yeah, look, I'm just saying hypothetically, you know, this would be a good time for Mike Tomlin to, like, you know, want to step down, maybe take on a new challenge. I know I would. Black Preacher Man Sports fan, TJ, what about going after Deion? I know it's a stretch. Deion don't want to coach in the NFL. He already said that. He said because he wouldn't be able to understand that a guy makes millions of dollars and don't try hard or play hard. So yeah, he already said that. He said, I'll be somewhere fighting every day. I'll take Mike Tomlin in a heartbeat. Yes, Lord, bring Mike Tomlin down. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you bring, like, honestly, I don't know. You know, like, new quarterback, been with Big Ben, you know what I'm saying, all those years, and him and Big Ben won a lot of games, went to the playoffs, all those good defenses they had along with Dick LeBeau, and, you know, who knows, you know, you step down, want to take on a new challenge. I mean, why not? I'll take them in a second. Get a new GM, let them pick their head coach, and let the head coach pick the staff. Let's do things like a professional organization. Whoa, Frank. Like, let's slow your roll now. Slow your roll. Like, I'm not trying to get rid of Mickey Loomis. Like, I'm not trying to get rid of Mickey Loomis. Mickey Loomis has done more good things than bad things. I just feel like this year, you know, everything just seems all bad because the team is losing, and then you look at what's going on in the situation in Philly, and I get it, but this is like 1 year where I'm just looking at, like, even though like you had past years, some of the decisions that he made were also in partnership with Sean Payton, because these two guys kind of collaborate with the decisions. I mean, we've heard Sean Payton say this, everything from who would be a good fit for the offense to what type of materials the tiles, you know what I'm saying, the tiles on the seats are going to be, right? Are they going to be flimsy? Like, we heard Sean Payton say these things. So he has worked alongside Sean Payton for years when it comes to like personnel decisions and players and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not going to just say, okay, first year, you know what I'm saying, like things ain't going right. All of a sudden, like we just got to go ahead and just get him up out of here, because we have to be careful, because it's the same dude that signed the coach that you respect so much and a quarterback that you revere so much. So I got to see a couple of more years of ineptitude from Mickey Loomis before I be like, man, they need to go ahead and get this man up out of here. Because look, I don't know. He has more good, like, he has more goodwill like bottled up than that of a Dennis Allen. Like, he has some skins on the wall where you can justify like keeping him around, versus Dennis Allen, who has no skins on the wall for being nothing as far as being a leader of men. So I feel like we talking about getting rid of Mickey Loomis is basically we just prisoner in a moment right now. We just not happy with the situation, because I have not heard Mickey Loomis' name come up no time in the past when the Saints was having some trouble about firing no Mickey Loomis. So no, I look, if you continue down this path and you can't fix the issues, then yes, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's move on from it. But he has enough goodwill bottled up, in my opinion, to stay around, to try to figure this thing out. Just a reminder, we selected Davenport over Lamar when the entire fan base was begging for Lamar last night. Was like a bad dream that you can't wake up from. I will be real with you, man. I will never, ever forget the 2018 draft. I will never forget this. I know where I was. I know the exact moment. I'm dead serious. I was at Planet Fitness on the treadmill. I was on the treadmill at Planet Fitness in Conway, South Carolina. And when I was looking at the draft at the same time I was walking, you know what I'm saying, getting my cardio on. And then all of a sudden, I seen that the Saints moved up in the draft. Man, I stopped the treadmill and I walked towards the back where you kind of do like the free weights thing. And they had a TV in the back. And I'm like, oh my God, the Saints about to draft Lamar Jackson. Man, I'm excited. I'm sweating like I'm about to get drafted, like I'm about to get the phone call. Then all of a sudden, they draft Marcus Davenport. First off, I was like, who? Because at the time, I didn't know who Marcus Davenport was. I mean, forgive me, I ain't seen too many Road Runner games, UTSA, but I was shocked. I'm like, y'all moved up for that? You know what I'm saying? Like for somebody where we ain't never even heard of. And then, you know what I'm saying, the Baltimore Ravens draft Lamar Jackson and the rest is history. So I don't know, you know. Sometimes, you know, you move up, you get yourself a Chris Olave and it work out. And sometimes you move up, you get yourself a Marcus Davenport, and it's not a real return on investment. So, you know, hit and miss. You might can keep your coach and still bring in Frank as offensive coordinator. The problem is on offense. Yeah, I mean, look, if you can that's a good point. That's a good point. I just want this dude out of here, bro. I'm just being serious. Like I'm being 100% real. I just want this dude off our sideline. That's it. I'm serious, man. I'm not trying to make this thing work with no Dennis Allen no more. I'm serious. I do not want to make it work. Okay, irreconcilable differences right now between me as a podcaster, a fan of the team, a native New Orleanian. It is not working out, folks. It is not working out, man. All right. You know, we need to go our separate ways. I don't want to make it work with Dennis Allen. I don't want no scenario. I'm sorry. I appreciate, like, shouts out to y'all, man, trying to make it work. I appreciate y'all, you know what I'm saying, being Ayanna, trying to fix our life. But, man, no. I am out. I am out on Dennis Allen. I'm out. Like, seriously, I would like to envision 0 scenarios where Dennis Allen is on my sidelines next year. I'm just keeping it a buck. You know, I'm just keeping it all the way 100 with y'all. I want this dude off the sidelines. Dude ain't it. Man, the dude couldn't. I'm telling you, man, the dude couldn't motivate. Dude couldn't motivate a gas pump, you know what I'm saying, to pump gas. Seriously, he couldn't motivate the trigger to put gas in your car. Like that's how I feel about this dude. He, you know, like, bro, I get no energy from this dude. I get no, like the OGs used to say, umph. I ain't get no umph, none of that from this dude. Like, seriously. Like, if I didn't have to listen to a Dennis Allen press conference anymore for the rest of my life, I'll be okay. It's a bunch of, like I said, a bunch of cliches. It's a bunch of same old song and dance. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the same old thing over and over again. We're going to have to clean things up, man. There's some things we got to clean up. Clean up. Man,
sit your dumb ass down.
I mean, come on, man. I'm tired of it. It's the same old thing, man. Same old thing.
It wasn't perfect. There's a ton of things that we got to get cleaned up. But certainly that's something that we got to clean up. We got a lot of things we got to clean up, but still a lot of things we got to clean up. We got a lot of stuff to clean up in a short period of time. We got a lot of things we got to clean up, but cleaned up. We got a lot of stuff to clean up. We got to clean up.
I mean, it's the same thing over and over again. People think that I'm just trying to, you know what I'm saying, joke on dude, but it's the same thing. As I was making those edits, like to show people what I was talking about, I'm so serious. some of these clips are from like weeks of separation, but it sounds like the same press conference. You literally can, like, if he's wearing a different attire, you could basically take him out of one moment when he's wearing a different attire, put it into another one, and it sounds exactly the same. Because it's probably coming off a loss. I'm serious, man. Q, catch spiritual. Well, I gotta clean up what I messed up, starting my life. Come on with the song, TJ. I made up my mind. I ain't coaching no more. Shoot, for real. That's what he needs to make up his mind. It's TJ, it truly is. I gotta clean up. For real. Let's see. Is he trying to be the cleanup man? I don't know who are he trying to be. This serious. I don't know what he's trying to be. I can tell you what he's not. And that's a good head coach. Got Mark Ingram on podcast cracking jokes about the fumble difference with Sean Payton and Dennis Allen. DA got to go, man. Man, I don't know. Bro, it just seemed like to me, like, man, it just, oh, man. Bro, like they said, man, like Usher used to say, everything seems all bad, you know, like everything all bad. Like, bro, every star player that you have hurt. P. Warner having a lights out season, he hurt. Davenport on his way to the tent. Eric McCoy hurt. Marshawn Lattimore hurt. Michael Thomas hurt. Jarvis Landry hurt. Adam Trautman just came back from being hurt. Like, it's just, bro. And then you add on, like, man, this lifeless druid of a head coach that, like I said, couldn't motivate his way out of a paper bag. Bro, I'm just over it. I'm over it, man. You should take out your frustrations by making a parody song about DA. What? You must be new here. Star Trans, are you new? Are you new? I said, you gotta be new here, man, because we got about, man, we'd already made songs about Dennis Allen, man. Allen weak and his staff is weak. Who coached the O-line? I just think the O-line just it was just a bad matchup all in all, man. I think the O-line, for the most part, the offensive line been playing pretty well. They had a bad outing last night, but they've been playing pretty well, man, over the last couple of weeks. So I'm not gonna switch it up, you know, just because, you know, it's been pretty bad. You know, it was bad last night. I mean, I gotta give him some credit, man. It was playing pretty good. I said, man, he gotta be new. He was talking about Dennis about making a parody. I'm about to say, okay, he said sarcasm. I'm about to say, yeah, you already know. I said, shoot, we got some hits over here. When I say we got the hits, we got the hits. All right. What are we gonna do? You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, let's go ahead and hit them with the turf toe, 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 turf toe. First it's Ben and then it's Thomas, then it's Hardy, and I'm asking myself, what the heck is going on?
What is going on, man?
Dennis Allen called the player to the sidelines and he fell. He collapsed. His whole body hit the floor. Dennis walked up to him and looked at him and asked him, what's the matter? He said, Coach,
Just my
it's
toe.
just my toe. Turf toe, turf toe. Yeah, Coach, I got that. Turf toe, turf toe. I cannot walk. Turf toe, turf toe. I think I got that turf toe. Turf toe, turf toe. Lord knows I wanna play. Turf toe, but I can't. Toe. Because I got that turf toe, turf toe. I said, Coach, when I got turf And I'm telling you, man, we got them hits. We got them hits, man. You know, we got them hits, man. So, but yeah, man. Dark days for the Who Dat Nation, man. But nevertheless, hey, it's not changing my opinion about team as far as my love for him. I'm always gonna love this team. And the reason why, you know, I get so upset is because I do love this team. I do love this team, you know. Turf to a platinum hit at this point. Yeah, man, I love this team, and I just want to see them succeed, man. And I just don't see them succeeding with Dennis Allen as the head coach. That's all I'm saying. You know, that's all I'm saying. Folded like a piece of toilet paper. Return of the bags. Nah, I ain't right. Look, I ain't. Nah, we ain't going back to that. I ain't about to put no bag on my head. He returned the bag to that. I'm not doing return of the bags, man. I'll leave that to somebody else. Somebody else could they can turn that into their baby. You know what I'm saying? Like they can make that a hit. Nah, I ain't returning the bags, man. I'm sorry. You know, I mean, I had I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I had another joint, but it didn't age well. All right, so I don't even know where it's at, but it was about another Saints player, but it didn't age well, man. So I had to go ahead and dump that. TJ dropped 2 new singles before the diss track you were supposed to make. You slacking. Yeah, man. You got to be able to make that diss track, man. You made what about Eli Apple? TJ said the bags is going too far. Like, yeah, I ain't messing with no bags, bro. I'm sorry. And I can't roll with the bag, man. Somebody else can make that. I'm pretty sure, like, you know, man, people rock with it, man. But I can't. I don't even want to think about wearing no bag. Let's see. Out of all the injuries in the world, you had to get the turf toe. Yes, you did. Hey, man, like I said, I had that whole entire turf toe song is like, you know, I say about 2 minutes strong because I had like a first and second verse to it, but I couldn't put like the whole thing to it because, like I said, I was trying to add like different slides to it. And then, of course, I started doing stuff around the radio station. I didn't get a chance to finish, so I just kind of shortened it. But yeah, I got like a whole like song to it. Look, we have to clean some stuff up. And once we get healthy, we will be a force in this division and just have to execute better. Yeah, man. I mean, I like the optimism, man. I hope you're right. Can't wait for the DA hit 'em up track that's coming out. Nah, I ain't got no hit 'em up track. She was more like get 'em out, get 'em out track. The return of the bag remix. Let's see. Signs in stand saying clean up, man. They had a sign in the stand that said clean up, man. Dalton has no pocket presence. I don't say he don't have no pocket presence. His cadence is just trash. That cadence is garbage. Like, no, he ain't fooling nobody with that. You know, like people like, you may not like him, but Aaron Rodgers' cadence, Drew Brees' cadence, like you couldn't really jump their cadence. That boy cadence is trash. Even Sean Payton mentioned it. He was like, you know, Andy Dalton's cadence is horrible. I'm like, yeah, that's true. When it rains, it pours down. Justin Houston almost broke Andy's back. Justin Houston about 50 years old out there killing them boys. Ought to be ashamed of themselves. They had 2 of the oldest guys in the league, and Justin Houston and Calais Campbell out there looking like they back in, you know, in their 3rd and 4th year in the league. Baltimore was playing chess while we were playing checkers. I don't even think we were playing checkers. We was out there playing, what were we playing? Shoots and ladders. We were playing shoots and ladders. We were playing Candyland. Shoot, we wouldn't even play with Operation that sophisticated. Your checkers, it involves some brain power, some intellect. You know, like shoots and ladders. You know what I'm saying? That's what you play with your 2-3-year-old kid. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what you play. You know, like yeah, that's what you was out there playing. Yeah, shoot. If ain't no checkers was involved, we ain't have no red and no black checkers on that board. Somebody said Connect Four, Clue. What else we were playing? Game of Life. We weren't playing no checkers. TJ, go check out my fake Saints fan diss on Twitter. Jax, for real. That's what we're playing. Shoot. Yo. Shoot. I think the defense played as well as they could. That quarterback they have is good. Yeah. I mean, look, I don't. The defense, look, Lamar Jackson does that to a lot of teams, but it still doesn't resolve. It still don't resolve the Saints of being terrible. TJ, we could go 0-17 and no bags ever going on my head. You ain't lying. I don't even joke about it. These youngsters quick to talk about bags without knowing the significance or real history behind it. Yeah, I mean, I guess, they don't know about it because all for the most part they know is prosperity. And good for them. But when you start talking about putting up numbers that happened back in 2005, tells me all I need to know about Coach DA. Coach gotta go. Okay, that's what I feel about it. That boy gotta go.
Oh no, we suck again.
This has been the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you all so much for checking out the podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, youtube.com. Search the State of the Saints podcast. We are on a mission to 10,000 subscribers, and we're almost there, man. And I just need your help. If you're new and you're just checking out the podcast, never subscribed before, just go ahead and put your name in there so you can be in that number. Also, you can check out the State of the Saints podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor FM, and also follow on Facebook.com, search the State of the Saints podcast, and you can follow me on Twitter at TJAY Jones 8. Till next time, all I got to say is, who dat?